So let me just press record just to make sure I'm recording. Yep, should be. My camera seems to have, I must have had an update because things look a little bit different all of a sudden. But what I want to do, first of all, is to introduce ourselves so you know who's going to be cooking this evening. So very quickly, lots of you know me. My name is Lindsay. I'm a team leader with Thermomix now. I've been a team leader for just coming up for a year. I have been working with Thermomix for nearly 3 years now. I always said a Thermomix wasn't for me. I was one of those customers. I'm a trained chef. I had a food business before Thermomix took over my life. But now I am fully focused and full-time on Thermomix because I absolutely love it. You know, I'm just very passionate about this machine and sharing everything it can do, how it complements people that can cook, and how it teaches people that can't cook how to produce healthy food from scratch at a fraction of the price of buying it ready-made. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to, or I'm going to introduce you rather to Michaela. So if we can put the camera onto Michaela, that would be lovely. Is Michaela spotlighted?
Yeah. Hello.
Is Michaela on there? Yeah. So this is Michaela. Let me just scroll back because I actually can't see who's spotlighted. I've gone through all my screens. This is the disadvantage of doing it on a phone. There she is. So Michaela is better known as the Duchess of Oundle. Michaela used to be one of my customers. In fact, she was almost one of my first customers. And she absolutely loved her Thermomix. So she now moonlights as a Thermomix advisor because her day job is IT. So she's a whizzy IT consultant. We're very lucky to have her because if anything goes wrong and we get any techie issues, Michaela's on hand to sort it out. But Michaela would be the first to admit she's got a big interest in health and wellness, and you know how you can use food as medicine. She loves her Thermomix just as much as me, very passionate. Yeah, so and also likes a gin or 3. Or maybe half a bottle. Right, so that's Michaela. So next, let's have Claire. If we can swap to Claire, Sue. Yeah, here's Claire. Now, Claire is coming to us. I should actually say where we're all from, actually. So I'm based in Lincolnshire. Michaela is Cambridgeshire. And this is the amazing thing about Zoom, isn't it? And Claire is Berkshire. So Claire's handle is Barco Thermo. Are you not Berkshire?
She's Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire, okay. Hertfordshire. It's Hertfordshire, Berkshire, you know, it's all the same to me.
The Royal County, darling.
I grew up in Hertfordshire, yes, home counties. So Claire actually, interestingly enough, isn't part of my official team, but we've adopted her because she is amazing. She's great fun. You're going to really enjoy her cooking segments. And Claire, actually, I'm ashamed to admit, I don't sort of know what your day job is, but or what you know what your background is, but it's this.
Oh God, it is this now. I used to work as an office manager administrator at a theatre arts school, and before that, Marks and Spencer head office for years. But no, this now full time. That and gin. Yeah.
But Claire, again, very passionate. What used to be a customer turned advisor, as we all are actually on here, I think pretty much. So let's introduce Sarah Cohen next. Oh, there's Sarah.
Unmute. There we go. Hi.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi. Are you going to introduce yourself, or do you want me to introduce you?
No. Well, hi. I'm Sarah. I joined. I'm a customer, and I bought one for my husband back in December, and I loved it so much that I became an advisor. But I usually, I ride and compete in event horses.
Sarah's very modest because she's actually represented Britain at the Olympics twice. So, you know, she's not just any normal rider, she's an amazing rider. And again, we're very lucky to have Sarah. Sarah came to Thermomix from a completely different angle to me. Couldn't cook, didn't really enjoy it, did you? And it's been amazing to see her journey and the creations that she makes. And daily, Sarah's posting all these wonderful things on Facebook and getting really excited comments from her friends going, who are you? What have you done with Sarah? Because, you know, this is just not what you're known for. So that's Sarah. And then last but not least, oh no, not last, we've got 2 more people to go. So we've got Nicola. If we can just swap to Nicola. So here's Nicola. Again, Nicola was a customer, maths teacher, former deputy head, runs a charity, don't you, over in Kenya, your charity, and helping sort of impoverished and disadvantaged women find work. And Nicola, again, loves the Thermomix and is just here to spread her passion for this machine. And Nicola is a great cook, was a little bit kind of unsure at first, weren't you, as we all are, but I think you finally come over to the light. Well and truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. And then finally we've got Sue, who's just handling the admin for us. So Sue, you can just spotlight yourself. Sue again was a customer of mine. She's a kinesiologist by day with a specific interest in gut health and well-being overall. And Sue, again, a big Thermomix fan. Nice. Sue's going to be helping out just on the chat. So if you've got any questions, please put it on the chat or raise your hand, and Sue will draw our attention to it. So hopefully that's just run through who we all are. It's only 10 minutes in. That's great. We want to start cooking. So most of you will have seen the menu. You know, we've got a real action-packed evening for you. So I'm going to start off by getting my lamb dish on. So this is the main course. So I'm doing a lamb with spring vegetables, which I thought was a lovely sort of seasonal dish for us. Spring lamb, spring vegetables, and a really easy dinner party dish. So we've chosen these dishes. We spend quite a lot of time sorting out these menus, and actually this one in particular is brilliant for people who want to produce a show-stopping meal but don't want to be spending hours in the kitchen. So hopefully you'll see how easily it all comes together. Right, so I am going to do this lamb with seasonal vegetables. So I've got my recipe loaded onto the machine. I'm just going to move my camera down actually onto this tripod so you can see me perhaps a little bit more closely and see my machine. Now, you'll notice, if you can see that, this recipe is an American recipe, so it's in ounces. So my scales have automatically adapted. So it's asking me to put in 1 ounce of butter. So there we go, 1 ounce of butter goes in. I'm just going to click on next, then 2 shallots. So that's going to go in, my shallots. And actually, I don't know what I was up to at lunchtime. I was sort of merrily chopping away, and I thought, why am I chopping my shallots when my Thermomix will do it for me? So they are in smaller pieces, but normally you would just need to peel them and then pop them into the Thermomix. So they're going in. Let's get every last little bit. Click on next. So it's talking me through this recipe. So if we've got, I know we've got some prospective customers on here just having a look to see what the Thermomix can do. This is the great benefit of this machine, that it will walk you through recipes step by step. So it's like having a recipe book on the screen, and then you weigh everything directly in. So 2 garlic cloves. Then I'm going to put the lid on like that. And I am going to turn the speed selector to speed 7. So it's going to chop it all up for me in 3 seconds. That's all it's going to take. So it's amazing, isn't it, to be able to chop things in 3 seconds. Then it even tells me to scrape down the sides of the bowl. So I'm just going to scrape that down. Now this is going to form the basis of the sauce. And so we're going to be cooking with all the levels of the Thermomix tonight, which is fantastic. Now, actually, the onion is just getting in my eye slightly, so I might start crying in a minute. That's tears of joy, obviously, that I am using this amazing machine. And I am going to just now saute it. So we've got the onions chopped up. We've got varoma, so high temperature coming on, gentle stir. So that's going to cook away for 3 minutes. So while that's cooking away, I'm going to hand over to Nicola. So Sue, if you are able to spotlight Nicola for me, that would be fantastic. And Nicola is going to show you how to get started with the sous vide strawberries for the white chocolate mousse dish. Okay. Oh, can't hear you, Nicola. You on mute. No.
I think I'm okay now. Rookie out.
Yes, we can hear you. Brilliant.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm doing sous vide strawberries with white chocolate mousse as the dessert, but we're just staggering my bits because the sous vide strawberries take a bit of a while to do. Now, sous vide, I actually haven't done much before this, but is a way of, sous vide means under vacuum, and it's a method of cooking that's becoming more and more popular, because you can cook things at an exact temperature, which brings out the full flavors. And you do it either using vacuum packs, or you can just use a Ziploc bag. Please could the angle camera be directed lower? Thank you, sir. So here I've put in the ingredients. So Cookie Dough has told me exactly what to put in. So rather than letting you see all that, because I think you know how that works in the main, the recipe has guided me through that. It said put in my 200 grams of strawberries trimmed, 4 basil leaves, some maple syrup, and a little bit of orange juice. And now we're just going to seal it. And the easiest method to do this is to put it into a bowl of water. So I'm going to 3/4 seal the top of the plastic bag. So it's just a little bit of room for the air to escape. And I'm going to dunk it into the water. And that's now going to, the pressure of the water is now pushing the air out through that remaining section. So there's just enough to then seal it at the top. And now it would stay sunk in the water. You don't need to get literally every single bit out, but now it's going to stay underneath the water. So now I'm going to make sure it's completely sealed. So the next thing this machine has told me to do, so I'll just move the water out of the way. So the machine has got, so the first thing the machine actually tells you to do is to get the water up to temperature. So it spends 15 minutes, which I've just been doing while Lindsay's been talking, to get the water up to 15, up to 80 degrees exactly. So it has a very highly controlled water temperature. And then you also add in some lemon juice, because if you don't, there's a risk that the blades oxidize while it's sort of sitting at that temperature for a longer time. So they suggest that you add 30 grams of lemon juice, which I've done. I've then let it heat up while we were just talking there. And now I'm going to put the bags inside. This is another occasion when you do use the blade cover. So the blade cover's on the bottom, so these can't possibly get in. But the water's going to get stirred very gently just to maintain a very, very consistent temperature. So it's all going to sit in there. It's going to sink in down, she says, comfortably. And now I'm going to put the lid on and move on to the next. And it's now going to stay at 80 degrees for 18 minutes exactly. And that's supposed to be the perfect temperature for that particular concoction of strawberries, which will go on the top of the mousses at the very end. And we'll come back to that. So I'm just going to set that running while we move on. And then I'll come back to do the actual chocolate mousse a bit later.
Great, thank you, Nicola. So if you can just put me back on the spotlight, Sue, that'd be great. Okay, so the one thing to watch out for when you are sous videing is that you have expelled all that air out of the bag, and you will know that because the bag will not sit on the surface, it will sink, so it won't float, it will be fully submerged. So if you ever see your bag sitting on the surface, then it means you haven't expelled all the air. You don't need fancy vacuum sealers. You can pick them up on occasion in places like Lidl and Aldi. Sometimes you see them in special buys, but actually you can just use a Ziploc bag. It does exactly the same job. So don't think you have to go and run out and buy some extra, more expensive, fancy equipment. Right, so that's cunningly got me to my stage now, my next stage. So my onions and garlic, you can see all the nice heat coming out, have sauteed away in that butter. It's smelling gorgeous. Already. I absolutely love the smell of onions and garlics cooking away in the kitchen. And then I'm going to continue on with the sauce. So there we go. It's told me, oh, why have I gone back? Just hit the wrong button. I'm just going to double check that I didn't, there we go, that I didn't skip through too many steps. Now it wants me to add 7.5 ounces of water. So my scales have adapted to ounces as I just explained, and I'm going to pour in my water. Like that. I tend to use hot water actually, or boiling water. Here we go, click on next. Half a teaspoon, now it says meat stock paste. I don't have any to hand actually, so I am just going to use my vegetable stock paste. I haven't replenished my meat stock paste yet. And hopefully all you customers are making your own stock paste now. It's a great money saver. And I have a jar like this. I made this jar before Christmas, would you believe, at a demo, and you can see it's still going strong, and it's sat in my fridge all that time. So it's a great way to save money and use up leftover vegetables. So that's gone in. Now, a teaspoon of pink peppercorns. So here's my pink peppercorns. These are so old, they're actually from France. Can you see that? Oh, I think I got these about 15 years ago and very rarely use them, but they'll be absolutely fine. So I'm going to put in my pink peppercorns. They've got a lovely sort of fragrant smell. And then insert the simmering basket. So the simmering basket's going to go in. Oh, I don't know what I had in that simmering basket. I think I might have had some just rice that hasn't been washed up. Anyway, empty that out, put the simmering basket in. And then it wants me to weigh in 10.5 ounces of potatoes. So I'm just using new potatoes here, just cut into sort of smallish chunks. It does say between sort of 1/2 and 1 inch. So let's just pop those in. I don't know how many we've got here actually. I just sort of did it by eye, and I only wanted to make enough for my husband and I. The kids had sausages tonight to get it out of the way. There we go. So I'm almost there. Well, I'm just over 11 ounces. That's fine. Okay, so now it wants me to put the lid on. Lid goes on. And then we're going to cook away. Can you see we've got 10 minutes on the clock? So our first dial is the time. Then we've got the varoma setting. So we're going to heat up to a high temperature. And we're just going to start gently cooking those potatoes. And that now it's going to tell me to get ready for the next step. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to hand over to Claire. So see if you can spotlight Claire. And Claire is going to start the focaccia and the garlic chorizo prawns dish.
Yes. Hello. Right. I'm going to start. Oh, I can't actually see that. Right. So I'm going to start with the chorizo and prawns a la Sidra dish, which I hadn't ever cooked before. And well, I'm just going to start because, as my customers know who are on this call, I talk a lot, and there's 43 other dishes to get through, and it's not all about me. So as with everything else, hopefully you can see, it's all guided cooking. So literally, I'm just going to do what the machine tells me, which is, you know, my way. So to start cooking, it's asking for, and as you all know, you don't need to pre-prepare everything Blue Peter style. I've just done that again because I talk too much, and otherwise you'll never see the end of it. So 2 garlic cloves going in, some shallots going in, which I haven't cut. So hopefully they will be fine. And then lid on. So again, it's another, I think it's a labour intensive 3 seconds we have to deal with now while it chops them at speed 5. So I'm just going to do that, not crying. Right, and then straight down. This dish says it serves about 6 portions as an appetizer, but I'm actually going to have this for my dinner. It's quite a versatile dish, so you're meant to serve it, or it's suggested as a sort of Spanish tapas type dish. You can see that it's just chopped everything down. But I'm going to do it and have it later with some pasta and some bread, as I'm making bread as well. So, right, extra virgin olive oil in my recycled gin bottles. Those who know me know I like gin. I like to recycle more than I like gin. So, and the scales have reset, so I can just pour in 30 grams. The scales will measure it for me, and that's fine. And then 1 dried bay leaf, which I did dry myself. Sad but true. Thermomix Mix didn't do it, I did it. There you go. 1 dried bay leaf, lid going on again, and it's telling me now it's going for 6 minutes. Now it's going to cook away at 100 degrees, sauteing the onions, the garlic, and with the bay leaf in. And simultaneously, while that happens, I'm going to come over to my TM5 and start the focaccia. So this one also, so this was my first machine. Similar principle, just hasn't got as many bells and whistles as the TM6, but it's still my trusty TM5 and my first love, but I do love the TM6 more. Right, so this one, again, still guided cooking, smaller screen. So for those of us that can't see, you just have to get a bit closer. So lightly oil a bowl, done that. Always be prepared. Then cling film, done that. Oil your cling film. This bread is probably my family's favourite because it's so easy. it's so much cheaper than buying it at the supermarket. I think I wrote down it cost them something like 70p to make a focaccia. And if you bought the equivalent in Waitrose, it would cost you something like £3.60. So you're saving nearly £3 on one piece of bread. Right, so I'm putting in the flour. So the scales have reset, 500 grams of flour going in. As I say, this is our family favourite bread, and I make a lot of bread. I do pita bread and just regular sandwich bread, ciabatta. But this one is so quick, so easy, and really Moorish. It freezes really well as well. So it's good for everything. And you can just pretend you're an artisan baker. That's what I like to do. Paul Hollywood hasn't called me yet, but it's only a matter of time. Right.
You've got to master those macarons first, Claire. Maybe he'll give you a shout after that.
Don't put her off her stride, Lindsay. Leave her alone. She's fantastic.
Right, sugar is going in. Oh, now I don't even know which one's sugar. That one's sugar. Going in. And then yeast going in. Which is 1.5 teaspoons. It's just really easy, this one, because it's, you know, all in, and then just proves for a couple of hours. And super simple. Oh, that's going in. Then olive oil again, just ordinary olive oil and gin, not extra virgin. They are a necessity. 30 grams.
I love the fact that you've got them in different bottles, Claire, so you know exactly what is what.
Oh, I do. Well, I'd hate to confuse my washing up liquid with my olive oil.
I'm feeling out-ginned is all I'm saying.
Right, and then warm water, 350 grams of warm water going in. Marvellous. And then, and some salt, which is there. Lid on. And then taking the strain now with, I think it's, 20 seconds to mix it all together. Speed 6. And then I think I'm doing all right. I've still got 2 minutes 48 on the prawn, so I'm all right at the moment.
I have to say, Claire,
no, go on, Michaela.
I was just going to say, obviously, you'll see my TM5 and TM6 tonight, and I do love my TM5. It's still the workhorse. It does both machines, though, are on every day. I can't believe it. I thought I'd be selling my TM5, but no way.
Now it's just going to knead for 2 minutes. And this is, remember, one of the only times I wouldn't leave my Thermomix alone. So when it's got the muscle whisked in, and if it's kneading bread, because you can probably see it's doing a little bit of a dance. And I don't normally have the two of them together, and it's dangerously close to the edge, which obviously nobody would put their Thermomix, well, nobody would put their Thermomix in the corner, but nobody should put their Thermomix on the edge of the bench either. So I'm going to stand here, just in case it dances this way.
I have a saying that in our team, none of our customers would ever put a Thermomix in a cupboard. There we go. It's out and it's used all the time. So, you know, hopefully it's sessions like this that will help inspire you to go and use it to make something new and different. Claire, have you got your focaccia ready that's proved already?
I'll show that now.
That you, yeah. I mean, much as we love looking at you, maybe we'd like looking at the bread a little bit more.
So once it's done the kneading, all I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put it in the bowl, cover it with the oil cling film, and then prove it for 1 to 2 hours. And then once it's done that, it will come out looking as beautiful as this in a tray. And then what I need to do is move that down there, or you're not going to see. Right. Hopefully you can see. So this is one that's been that's proved. So all I would do at this stage now is just literally make some holes in it, just to knock it back a bit. And you've got a couple of options. Before, you could have added something like sun-dried tomatoes if you wanted to actually put them in the dough. But as a family, what we like is I just make this myself, and it's always in the cupboard. So all this is rosemary, thyme, black pepper and olive oil.
It's not in a gin bottle.
Too small. Who has gin bottles that small? That one's done. Don't give me an idea. And then literally I just put it on, paint it on. She says looking for a paintbrush. But it's at this point that you can be really creative with your bread, and you can, you know, turn it into a little bit of art if you want to, because there's a big, you know, in lockdown last year there was a big focaccia trend going on, which I may have already done one earlier, which I'll show you later. But this is where you can get creative. So this, you know, you can put cherry tomatoes on the top. As I say, this is just olive oil with thyme and rosemary, but also because I went edible gifting mad at Christmas, I did lots of these to give away, and this is just a rosemary salt, which I also sprinkle on top. You can put pretty much whatever you like on top. You can put olives on top, you can put peppers, you can put anything on the top. And then this cooks for half an hour. So if I stop talking long enough, this should be done by the end of the, I was going to say the end of the show. This should be done by the end of the cookery class. So I'm going to leave that one over there and go back to the prawns. I'm going to go into the oven momentarily. Oh, hopefully I haven't, oh gosh, I haven't cut myself off.
Don't undersell us, Claire. This is a full-on, absolute amazing
Show.
cooking experience production. It absolutely is.
We've had a comment in the chat, Claire, to say that you're hilarious, which we know you are, and that is why you are an honorary member of our team, because, you know, you make us all laugh on a daily basis.
Still on?
Pardon?
Am I still on? I can't see anything now.
Yes,
oh,
you are on.
Yeah, I can't see anything now, so I'm just going to carry on and pretend you're there, because I can't see anything now.
Claire, there's a question for you in the chat as well. Did you dry your herbs and mix with olive oil?
I literally just, what I do, I take a cup of olive oil, so an American cup of olive oil, and then I mix in a couple of tablespoons of thyme, fresh from the garden, rosemary, fresh from the garden, black pepper, and some garlic, and then I just sort of heat it up for about 15 minutes and then just store it in this bottle. So that was 4 times that recipe, and it filled that bottle, and it keeps for weeks.
Oh,
as I say, we have focaccia so often, and this is how the boys like it. So, because they're not big tomato fans, because that would be classed as, you know, healthy. So, yeah, and it just keeps, and it's always ready, and it's just really easy to make. And so we've got thyme and rosemary in the garden, so it's free.
Excellent.
Right, so if I just go back to the prawns, right, so what it's asking for now, it's sauteed, is the chorizo. I've never had to de-skin chorizo before, but it asked for it, so I did, because, you know, so that's just all going straight in. I can't wait to have this for dinner later, can I just say. And then, right, the lid's going on, trying to be super fast. So another minute at speed 1, so it's just going to gently stir that round. And then what else was I going to say about the chorizo? Oh, randomly, I found earlier this recipe on Cookie Dough. If you put in on the filters, what was it called? I wrote it down. Celebrity and bloggers. This comes up under celebrity and bloggers. So and there's another 243 celebrity and blogger recipes. So if you want to do fancy entertaining, that's the tag to use apparently. Useless bit of information, just thought I'd share that with you. And the other thing that I'm going to serve with this, or the other thing you could serve with this, is on sourdough. I know Lindsay's really good at sourdough. I'm rubbish at sourdough because I'm menopausal. So I don't remember to feed it.
Is it your hormones affect it then?
Yes. Yes. So I do the Portuguese water bread instead.
I think she means, when she says menopausal, she means gin.
She means what? I can't see anyone. I'm talking to a Zoom page at the moment.
I think, and when you say menopausal, I think you mean ginopausal, don't you? And you just forget to feed it. It's only because the kids ask.
For the tongue. Yeah, so I just make the Portuguese water bread because I don't need to feed that. And for me, it just works exactly the same way. So you can use that. Now it's asking for alcoholic cider. Didn't think there was any other type. So that's just going in. 100 grams of alcoholic apple cider, obviously. Then, without the measuring cup. So it's just, I think this is where it's going to go for 4 minutes, and you don't need to look at me for 4 minutes. So I believe I'm handing over to Michaela, I think, 4 minutes. I may or may not be right.
You are.
I'm going for a lie down.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Duchess's kitchen. So I'm making, I'm doing a red onion caramelized chutney and a chicken liver parfait. And we're all on our best behavior. Lindsay made us prep and follow the instructions. So I'm just going to say anything could go wrong because I'm not used to following instructions. But let me just change my camera view for you so I can crack on. You will see a lot of my tummy, but at least you'll see both my machines. So I'm going to start the chutney first because this will take the longest. As the regulars will know, we've got this touch screen here and it is guided instructions. Because of my camera setup, you can't see the instructions so well tonight. But anyway, it's asking me to weigh in 25 grams. And look, I'm just weighing straight into the machine. I'm not using separate weighing scales. And then I will put this on and it's asking me for 500 grams of red onion. Now this is the TM6 and what you're going to see shortly in a minute is it's going to go on to a high temperature function. And this is unique to the TM6, to the temperature that it gets onto. So we press next. And for those that have got your TM6, you probably wondered what this was, is your splash guard. And it's for when you're using high temperatures. So the instructions are saying, place the splash guard on. And more importantly, just amazing safety features here. It's asking me to confirm it's done that before it'll move on. So really amazing around the safety features. So it's going to cook for 20 minutes on the maximum temperature, and I just need to turn the selector. So what we will do here now is I'm going to go over here. It's a bit noisy, isn't it? It'll calm down in a minute. Now, chicken liver parfait. What it's asked me to do is to clarify some butter, and for time-saving purposes, I've already clarified my butter. I don't always do it when I do pate because it goes.
Do you want
so
to just
quickly.
talk us through that, Michaela? How you did it?
I'm going to do it now. Yeah. So what it's doing, it's told me to put the 250 grams of the butter in, and again, it would have weighed into the machine. Then put the lid on without the cup, and then what it did was it actually cooked on varoma for 10 minutes. Then, and this is the great thing about the Thermomix, is it then tells you the instructions away from the machine. So once that cooked, it's saying here, strain through a sieve lined with muslin or a paper towel into a bowl, and then discard the milk solids, which is what I did slightly earlier, and it just came up with little white solids of the butter. So I've done that. Then I cracked on, because you don't need to see me cooking garlic and onions. It's just asked me, we're going into the parfait now. It's a 2 garlic cloves, 2 shallots halved, approximately 50 grams. And again, the weighing scales came up, so I just weighed that in. The butter, 150 gram, and cook with the lid on. And it cooked, chopped it up, sorry, for 5 seconds, and then scrape down the sides, and without the measuring lid on, you cook for 5 minutes. And this is where we are, guys. So I'll just bring you in here. So as you can see, there is the base of the parfait. So it's done the onions, done the garlic, and it's done the butter. It asked me whilst I was doing that to prepare my livers. So it asked me, look at this. That's as dry as I can get it, but it asked me to remove all the sinew and season this and dry them out. So I actually soaked these beforehand. A Raymond Blanc recipe, which Lindsay pointed out, which was in milky water and salt, just to take the bitterness off the livers. Now, I did spend time removing the sinew today because we were told to work to instructions, but I never have in the past because the blades in the Thermomix are so strong that actually it will sort that out. So now it's asking me to put that in here, so put in the prepared livers.
I'm just getting a touch of resentment in your voice there, Michaela.
About the preparation. I know, sorry, that was very bad of me.
I'll let you into a little secret, because I don't bother taking the sinew off either. I just chuck it all in because, like you just said, the Thermomix will just grind it down to nothing anyway.
And look away, Claire, but I am adding 100 grams of brandy. Now, there are other recipes. There's a pate with Riesling, but of course, if you don't have alcohol, the great thing about the Thermomix is just literally go over that instructions. Just ignore it. It doesn't need to be alcohol. If you need to put extra fluid in, just use water. But I think in a pate you won't have to. So there we go, 100 grams, just slightly over. I can put alcohol in this because my son doesn't eat meat anymore. So now it's saying insert the lid with the measuring cup, and it's going to cook on speed 1. And again, I know you can't see it on the screen here, but it's set it to 8 minutes, 100 degrees. All I have to do is get the selector here and turn it to speed 1. And that's going to cook for 8 minutes. I've still got about 16 minutes left here on my chutney. So I think we can go over. I've got about 8 minutes to whoever's next on the list.
That'll be me. Oh, brilliant. Sue's on it. She's changed it already. Fantastic. Right. So now I'm going to continue with the lamb dish. Let me just take you over and show you. I am actually cooking in the traditional way, shock horror. So I've got my lamb here. These are just leg steaks, actually. The recipe calls for fillets, and I've just seared them 1 to 2 minutes aside, just to get some nice colour on them. So they are readily done. That's why I actually asked Michaela some questions and wanted her to chat a bit longer, because actually I forgot to preheat my griddle pan. So I was panicking that it wouldn't be at temperature, but there we go. We've got it back. And of course, I don't have a production team in the background whispering in my ear, telling me that I have done something. So there's my lamb ready to go into the broma. Now, this is quite an unusual dish. It's certainly not a way of cooking that I'm used to, in terms of we are now going to put this into the broma to continue cooking and steaming. Now we've got some colour onto it. It looks absolutely fabulous. The sauce looked fabulous. That's why I chose the dish. I'm a real sucker for sort of brandy, cream, peppercorny sauces. So I'm sure it's going to be an absolute delight to eat. So the recipe walked me through that bit. Place a large oil frying pan over a medium-high heat, season the lamb, and then sear it for 1 to 2 minutes aside. So that's what we've done. Now, what am I going to do? Now it wants me to transfer the seared lamb into the broma dish and onto the broma tray and set the broma aside. So here is my broma dish right here. So I am going to put it on the tray. I think it makes sense to put it onto the tray. So this is a great recipe, because you're going to see this multi-level approach. Now, lots of customers actually tell me, and it's not just in our team, it is across the board really and globally, that they don't feel they use the broma enough. So these demo sessions are ideal actually, because we always try and show a dish that uses the broma. The broma is a fantastic tool for the Thermomix. I ferment yogurt in mine, so I put little yogurt pots in, because you can see you've got it in 2 pieces. So when I put my yogurt pots in, I don't have the tray, I just have the lid on, and I will ferment yogurt overnight. You can ferment bread in it. You can steam bread in it as well. So I often steam my bagels before I then bake them in the oven, to stop you having to drop them into a pan of water. You can steam rolls. Actually, there's a pulled pork recipe, which is fantastic. You can steam rolls whilst you're making your pulled pork underneath. And then you can obviously use it as a steamer, which is the most sort of common way of using it. So got the lamb in. Now it's asking me to, it's going to ask me to deglaze the pan. So let's do that. Have I got some water? Where's my jug? There we go.
Team, does anybody get the feeling our boss didn't go through the menu first tonight?
I actually haven't done this dish before. I do like to normally practice, but you know what? I always say this machine will teach you to cook if you don't know how to do it. So actually, it's quite a good thing to show a recipe that you can practice before mastering. There we go. Right, so I'm going to deglaze my pan using a bit of water. There we go. I was debating, actually what I was debating was I going to deglaze it? I'm just going to shake it about a bit. Was I going to deglaze it with alcohol? And then I decided against it, just in case it caught fire, as I have a track record of setting my kitchen on fire at demos, which is all very exciting, especially when I don't notice it, because I've had a couple of drinks. But there we go. Right, so deglazed the pan. So now what I want to do is arrange some asparagus trimmed in halves and a carrot julienne around the seared lamb in the Veroma dish and on the Veroma tray. So let's do that. So here, I'm just going to take this out. I'm going to pop my asparagus stalks, actually. No waste here, may as well cook the stalks. So let's put the stalks, because they're woody and harder, in the bottom of the Veroma dish. And then I am going to just drop my asparagus around the lamb. And then I did julienne the carrots. Now, actually, the picture to me does not look like they've been julienned. It looks like they've been cut in batons, but I have diligently julienned my carrots because I do have a little tool that will do it for me. It's called a mandolin. It's fantastic. Make sure if you want to buy one that you get a mandolin with a guard so that you don't inadvertently slice your fingers off. It's one of the most common injuries that chefs sustain in a kitchen. So there, I'm just going to put my julienne carrots in there. Okay. And now it wants me to place the Veroma dish into position, secure the Veroma lid, and we're going to cook away for just 4 minutes. So let me put my lid onto the machine first of all. And so I'm going to pop that on top. So the Veroma sits on top. So I've got, this is the true sort of multi-level. So here's my Veroma, both levels being used. I've got my potatoes still, of course, in the simmering basket. And then I am just going to turn that off to steam the lamb and start steaming the vegetables for 4 minutes. And so now I think I am going to hand over to Nicola. Are we going to do Nicola, or did we think we were going to go to Sarah, I think, or are we going to do Nicola with the cheesecake? Here's the boss not knowing what we're doing now.
Well, I've still got 2 minutes before you can come back to me to finish off the parfait. So whatever takes 2 minutes.
So whatever takes 2 minutes. So should we just go to Nicola? She's probably not expecting it. Just talk us through the beginning of the cheesecake dish that you've done.
Okay, so the cheesecake, it's actually white chocolate mousse officially. So the beginning bit of it is just to break up some digestive biscuits, melt some butter, and then mix them, which I did before the show started. So they are ready in the glasses. And now the next bit is to whisk the cream. Now it says insert the butterfly whisk. One of the tricks, I don't know who told me, but basically when you put the butterfly whisk in, you've got two choices, haven't you, between the cross, as you put it in between the cross. You can either put it in that way or the other way, and the way you can wiggle it least is the one that's the best position for it, apparently. Is that right, Lindsay?
Am I still on mute? No, I'm not. I am off mute. That sounds about right. Perfect.
Yes. Okay, so then I'm putting in 200 grams of whipping cream. So that's just all going in, and then we're going to whisk it to soft peaks. So when I was looking at this recipe earlier in the week, just to make sure I sort of knew what I was doing, it doesn't tell you how long here, and it doesn't tell you how long because it depends on exactly what sort of cream you've got and also what temperature it's at. So this is the moment of truth when you start whisking, and you hope you catch it when it gets to soft peaks. I think it's about 40 seconds. So I'm going to try that and then have a look. And then, so basically this hasn't got any time on it. I'm putting the time in, I'm basically turning it on and letting it count up rather than count down. So it says turn it to speed 3. So I'm turning it to speed 3 and I'm going to give it about 30 to 40 seconds and have a little look. I think you can generally hear it when it starts thickening. She says, hopefully. But that is the general gist anyway.
Yeah, you said earlier, didn't you, that you get a different sound.
You get a depth to the sound.
Yeah, so it's a bit like when you're making butter, you can tell the second that cream has whipped to butter. So I'm not going to distract you because we don't want to end up with butter this evening. And it's very unusual that we're not doing butter tonight. But we want to stick with whipped cream, and softly whipped cream at that.
Okay, so I'm just pushing the dial in to stop it. Just going to have a quick look, only because I don't want to go too far. Oh, and I think it looks like it might be about right. Now I'm going to do it. So it's just running. I can see it's just running a little bit. So I'm just going to do it a fraction more.
And yeah, here you want to be really careful that you don't over whip the cream, because you want to be able to fold it into the melted chocolate for the cheesecake. If you over whip it, it's really difficult to incorporate.
Okay, so I think we've got just about right there.
Yeah, looks perfect.
That's a touch and go. Okay, so this now says we're now going to remove the butterfly whisk. And then remove and take all the cream out of this, transfer all this into a large bowl and set aside. So I'm just literally going to be putting the cream out, and then we're going to move on to melting the chocolate.
I'm ready when you guys are, if you want. How long?
Okay, so I think it actually says at this point you're meant to wash the bowl, but I don't really see much point in that, seeing as we're going to be mixing it all together anyway.
Yeah, and actually, you know, if you have sort of hot cream and a chocolate together, that creates a sort of a ganache type mixture. So I would say it's absolutely fine not to wash the bowl.
It's not a particularly clean bowl. Most of it transferred out. So it says thoroughly clean and dry, which I'm going to take the liberty of not doing. And then it says add 100 grams of white chocolate. Again, I get white chocolate galettes because I quite like them, and I buy them off Amazon. But I think other people buy white chocolate from all sorts of places. I think you have a favourite, don't you, Lindsay? Lidl is your favourite white chocolate?
Yeah, so I buy a lot of chocolate. The Thin Carré in Lidl, I think is fantastic. It's hang on, let me just admit. So it's I think about 45, maybe 50p now for 100 grams. It's fair trade as well, and it tastes brilliant. And I've always used it in my cake business. But I do use Calabo as well. I do have the Calabo chips that I buy wholesale too.
I'm just finding I've got into Amazon orders rather too easily over lockdowns. So now it says insert measuring cup into mixing bowl lid. And we're just going to melt that chocolate we're going to chop the chocolate first. So I'm turning it up to speed 9, a bit of a noisy one. So that's chopped the chocolate really finely so that when it heats it to melt, it melts evenly. So now it's now saying just wipe down the sides with the spatula. And I'm going to it's just going to heat to melt that chocolate. So it's now speed 1 for 1.5 minutes.
So while that's cooking away, it'd be really nice actually for our guests this evening just to pop in a chat where they're from. Because it's always nice to know, like just your county or you know your hometown. It's really nice to know where everybody is. And
Lindsay,
while that's cooking away, we're going to go to Michaela.
yeah. Sorry about that. Otherwise, we're going to clash, aren't we? I will. My livers have now cooked. So I'm just going to take you through them. And this is the amazing thing about how easy it is. So as you can see, it's all cooked in there. The machine then is asking me to keep the lid in place. And what we're going to do now for 20 seconds, we want to start at 5, and then we're going to gradually build the speed up to 7. And this is something that you just won't get with ordinary blenders, is that the strength of these blades really do make the job so much more easier. I'm just going to stand back a little bit. Here we go to 9. Here we go. 4, 3, 2. I mean, these are things I just would never, ever have cooked. I genuinely would have just popped to the supermarket if I was having a dinner party and bought probably Heston Blumenthal's chicken liver parfait from Waitrose. There are other supermarkets available. And but now I could do this. I know everything that's in there. And yeah, it's fantastic. So it's when I press next look, it's telling me to scrape down the sides, which I've now done. Now it's asking me to add the double cream. So again, the scales have just come on automatically, and I'm going to weigh in 100 grams. I'm going to bring it in slightly under though, because I know I'm a little bit less on the liver. So there we go. And then press next. a bit of salt, and again, you know, use to your taste. You are completely in control when you're cooking from scratch about what you can actually add. And then it's asking me for some black pepper. There we go, and press next. And then it's going to do a final mix. So just let me go into here, and again it's asking me to do the same. Start off at 5 and then gradually increase it to 7. There you go. Sounds like an aeroplane taking off.
We've got people from all around the UK. It's fascinating on the chat to see where we've got people from. So we've got from Scotland originally before moving to Oundle, Buckinghamshire, Berkhamsted, Lincolnshire, Norfolk, Blackburn, Lancashire, Ripon in Yorkshire, Worcestershire, Manchester, Surrey, Lincoln, Bedfordshire. Oh, Katie wins the prize. She lives at Whipsnade near the zoo. Fantastic. How lucky are you? I remember going to Whipsnade as a child. I grew up in St Albans in Hertfordshire. Caroline's from Bucks and Sussex, so, and Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire, and Burnham Market, one of my favourite places in Norfolk as well. You're very lucky too, Cynthia. Oh, and Essex, we've got Essex as well. So yeah, it's fantastic.
So here we go then. There we go, everyone. So there is the parfait, and now what it's asking me to do is to put into bowls, and literally it's saying here, this is telling me to do it into smaller ramekins, but it's basically saying to you literally put it, sorry, I'm one step ahead here, put it into your ramekins and then slightly cool. So actually what we can do now, look at that, as if by cue, I won't do that just for the minute, I'll just go back to my chutney. Here we go, look. Right, now it's asking me, so if I just show you that. Oh, the smell in here is absolutely unbelievable. Oops, I've gone and got water on my screen there, look. So of course it's jumped to, I might just go back to my week. Caramelized onion. Sorry about that, guys. You've got to, this is, with your touch screen, you've got to keep it clean. Then right, so here we go, look, there is the onions, and that, I mean, you just can't appreciate the smell because you can actually smell them because it's such a high temperature. Now it says 1/2 to 1 fresh chili, sliced already up, so we've done that. Press next. A teaspoon of salt, and again, you know, during this time of all the dishes that we're making, we're actually making a chutney too. I mean, would you have ever thought about that? And then 200 grams of brown sugar, light brown sugar, which I thought I had prepped, but clearly I hadn't. So again, I'm just weighing directly into the machine. So far, I've got 2 dirty bowls, and I'm making a chutney, and I've got a pate. I mean, you know, you just couldn't really, in the old days, that just wouldn't be the case. So 200 grams of red wine vinegar. And I think, you know, it's worth saying now, I've been a Thermomix owner for over 2 years. I became an advisor just late last summer. I didn't cook half of these dishes when I first started out because I probably didn't have half the ingredients in my pantry, but I have built it up. And I think that's really important to say, don't be afraid. Take your time to build your pantry ingredients up. You don't have to go buy your Thermomix and then all of a sudden have full pantries. You'll get to know what your tastes are. So now it's going to cook that final part for 25 minutes on Veroma on reverse, and this is the bit where it'll start caramelizing. So I think that'll be me till the end, Lindsay. Whoever's next, I think we go back to you, don't we?
Back to me. Yeah. Okay, so the lamb is cooked away. It's almost as if we've planned this evening. It's actually all going to plan. We've only really been cooking for 45 minutes. We thought this was going to be a really long demo, but actually we're getting through it really quickly. So that is fantastic. Okay, so my lamb is cooked away for 4 minutes. Now, if I just click next, it'll tell me on the screen, it gives me the advice that the lamb will be cooked medium rare if desired, continue cooking until the lamb, asparagus, carrots and potatoes are cooked to your liking. Well, medium rare is fine by me. And I still want my asparagus to have a little bit of crunch, and the carrots at a julienne will be cooked no problem in 4 minutes. So now it wants me to transfer the lamb, vegetables and potatoes onto a serving plate or large bowl and cover to rest and keep warm. Okay, so I will do that in a moment, but what I might do is just cover. This is quite useful actually. I mean, I've got a couple of, well, 3 Thermomixes actually, so I've got lots of these lids knocking around. But actually it's quite useful to buy a second aroma lid, because you can see that you can use one as a tray to sit underneath the aroma and catch all the juices. And then you can just put a little lid over the top of it, and that will keep warm quite nicely for a few minutes. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And now we are going to get on with making the sauce. So I think I just need to remove the potatoes. There we go. Let me just come back to that. Let's just go back. Reserve the stock in the mixing bowl. So there we go. Got a lovely little bit of stock, which is going to be infused with all those lamb juices, the juices from the vegetables as well. So I've got all my own sort of homemade stock in there too. Then in the measuring cup, combine the whiskey and the cornstarch together and set aside. So how much whiskey do I need? Oh, I can't actually get into my brandy. Let's just see. I don't know, we've got one open here. And just pop you back a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to call up. You may not know, or those that have come to one of my virtual inductions will know, because I can't quite remember off the top of my head how much whiskey is needed. It doesn't actually tell me on the screen. You can call up the recipe detail by clicking on those 3 dots. So there we go, recipe detail. So I'm just going to have a little look down at how much brandy or whiskey. Is it brandy, whiskey? I think it says whiskey. Oh, I don't have whiskey. I've got brandy. That'll be fine. Right, so just a tablespoon.
That'll complement my brandy and the pate if we were together.
Yes,
Lindsay.
absolutely. So anyway, brandy. You can use either actually, but I just have happen to have the brandy to hand. So again, I mean, this is interesting because it's showing you all the different uses for the various parts of the Thermomix. So these machines are designed to be completely multifunctional. So you can use the simmering basket, for example, as a sieve or a colander. You can use the Varoma as well as a sieve or a colander. So you can wash your, I mean, I love the simmering basket when I'm cooking rice, because I can just wash my rice inside the simmering basket before then I cook my rice in the simmering basket. So I don't need to use a separate sieve and dirty extra equipment, and I've got less washing up at the end of it. So now I'm going to use the measuring cup, which is just a measuring cup, to as a little bowl to combine my brandy, not my whiskey, and my corn flour, which I do actually need to get out of the cupboard. Here we go. So, and it's a new packet, so I'm going to have to open my corn flour. And how much corn flour? 1 teaspoon of corn. So the Americans call it corn starch. Just going to get a little pair of scissors to open that bag. Oh, there we are. So get my teaspoon out, and these are the Thermomix measuring spoons. Actually, they're fantastic, and I really like them because you actually do get, teaspoons can be quite inconsistent in size, so I would always recommend that you use proper measuring spoons when you are measuring out our ingredients. So the brandy and the cornstarch are just in there, and I'm just going to mix them together. So effectively we're slaking it. So this is just going to help to thicken the sauce. There we go. So if I come back to the recipe now, I can just click continue on my screen. So in the measuring cup, combine the whiskey and the cornstarch and set aside. Add another teaspoon of pink peppercorns. So here we go, into the bowl. So I've got my little bowl icon on here. 1 teaspoon of pink peppercorns. So we're going to put another teaspoon in there. 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream. So I'm just going to grab that from the fridge, if you can bear with me. Actually, I did want to use up, I made some clotted cream the other day, to eat with some scones. Yes, I did actually make it. It worked really well, but my children are fed up of eating clotted cream now, so I just thought I would use it in here. So 2 ounces, let's pop that in, it's about 60 grams. There we go, perfect. That's a good guesstimate. Then the reserved pan juices. So here we go. I've got my pan juices here from where I deglazed the pan. That's going straight in. And that has the added benefit, of course, when you deglaze a pan after caramelizing meat, you get all that lovely flavor that goes into the sauce, but it cleans your pan as well. Then the reserved whiskey and cornstarch mixture. So that's going to go into there. I'm just going to make sure I get it all out. Okay, I probably wouldn't, this is a very American recipe using the corn flour to thicken. If I was just sort of making a sort of a pan juice sauce, I generally wouldn't add the cornstarch, but it is only a teaspoon. I would just rely on the cream to thicken it. So without the measuring cup, so I'm going to put the lid on. There we go, the lid on. So without the measuring cup, I'll take you through the clotted cream in a minute, Sue. It is actually on the group, on my Thermomix Whiz customer group, I put it on there. So without the measuring cup, because obviously we want to reduce the sauce now and thicken it, it's just got a 10-minute cook time. So I'm just going to turn the dial to a gentle stir, and the blades have come into reverse because we don't want to crush up the peppercorn. So clotted cream, how do you make clotted cream? It's so easy, you won't believe you've never thought of this to do before. So all you need to do is get a large rectangular baking dish and pour. I used a couple of sort of pots of double cream. So about 600 ml of double cream. You can do a little bit more if you want to. And then you put it in an oven at 80 degrees for 12 hours and cook it. And it will form a sort of a crusty, you can sort of see on here, a crusty kind of yellowish surface. So your cream clots on top, and then you might get a liquid layer underneath, or you may not. All my liquid had evaporated, so I ended up with just an entire dish of clotted cream. And then you can just pop it into a bowl and pop it in the fridge, and it does. So I made that last week and it's still fine. And I did read that to say that it lasts a couple of weeks in the fridge. There we go. So that's cooking away. So we're just finally going to hand over. We've got 2 more things to do, which is great. We've only been cooking not even an hour. So I think, are we going to go back to, or are we going to go over to Sarah actually for the first time to do her chocolate salami and get that on the go? So let's move over to Sarah. There we go.
Right, chocolate salami. Love this one. I've done this a couple of times and it is delicious. Okay, I have already used 200 grams of digestive biscuits, rich tea, which I've already done, and then some fruit and some nuts. And I've already chopped them previously because it was just literally just chopping them. So now it's asking me to add 80 grams of sugar. Okay, there we go. And then, this is going to now turn it into icing sugar. It's going to spin this at speed 10 for 10 seconds. That's it. And that, smoke woo! Turn that sugar into icing sugar. Okay, now it's telling me to transfer to a separate bowl. Oops, and we can save that till later. And then, it's like somebody's smoking in here. It is telling me, come on, dark chocolate, 100 grams of dark chocolate. And I would always use dark chocolate for this because I have tried it with milk chocolate, and because I'm not a chef, I can't cook, but somebody says, I think the husband said try it with milk chocolate. It's not as good. Then put the lid on. Then it's going to spin this for 4 seconds and chop up the chocolate.
I think with the dark chocolate, it will make a fantastic serving with your coffee at the end of a dinner party, wouldn't it? Which would just really clear out, give much better taste.
That's when we've always had it. Well, and if it's just sitting in the fridge. But it has, you do add a good kick of rum to it. Obviously you don't have to, but it does make it.
Well, you do if you're in this team.
Well, exactly.
we were saying earlier, it's like a bit of a sort of posh Rocky Road, isn't it? I suppose a grown-up version of Rocky Road, and it has all those beautiful ingredients like the biscuits and the fat and the chocolate, obviously, and then you just roll it up into a sort of a sausage and make it look really pretty.
Whatever nuts and fruits that you like. I mean, I put some apricots, sultanas, a bit of hazelnuts, and some almonds on there as well. Almonds. Well, I worked out the costings earlier. I just sort of Googled chocolate salami, and it came up as a 250-gram chocolate salami, a Rocky Road one, with no rum in it, for £14. And then there was another one, a Majani chocolate salami, again with no rum or anything in it, 300 grams for £19. And I worked out, because this, when it's made, it's about 575 grams, and I worked out the costing, and it cost £5.46. So, I mean, that's for...
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
It's a huge difference, isn't it? And actually, it's so simple to make. So what are we doing now? Are we melting the chocolate and coconut?
Yeah,
so that's taking
the dark chocolate. We've got another minute and a half to go on that.
Okay, fine. So should we just pop over to Nicola, who's going to show us her white chocolate mousse and sous vide strawberries.
Okay. I'm here again. Great. So I've melted chocolate. I've actually melted it a couple of times because I was a bit conscious that it might be warming up, but cooling down, or at least setting again. So I'm now adding 250 grams of cream cheese, which of course is exactly the size of the pot you get. So that makes life very easy. So this is all just going to be mixed in to make a very delicious white chocolate mousse, which of course, having tested it earlier in the week, I know is really rather delicious. Dessert for the last, we don't normally have dessert, we've had dessert for the last 3 days, using them all up. So the next was a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. Which apparently is equivalent to 1 whole pod.
I was going to ask, can I ask a technical question on that one? I avoid recipes with vanilla bean paste because I don't have it in my cupboard. Does it have to be that, or is vanilla essence the same, or a pod? Do we know, Lindsay or Nicola?
I always, vanilla bean paste is readily available. You can buy it in Asda. You could use vanilla extract, but the paste has got the seeds in it, so it is sort of stronger, and you will get a deeper vanilla flavour.
It's worth investing in some. Yeah,
it definitely. It's only sort of £4 or £5 for a little pot, and actually it will last a long time.
It's actually cheaper to buy the bean paste than it is to buy the vanilla pods, because if you buy the pods, they're actually really expensive.
Yeah, and then you've got to go for the faff of sort of de-seeding them and everything. So actually, I haven't bought pods for a very long time. I just use the paste.
You don't get the flavour out of the actual, unless you actually obviously use it to sort of poach in whatever you're cooking. You don't get the flavour from the actual pod that way, whereas I think this way you do. So, but again,
right, thank you.
Okay, so I'm adding 1/4 of the reserved whipped cream. And then this is going to get mixed very quickly. So this is now just 20 seconds to speed 3. And then you just fold the last bit of the cream in. And then that's your mousse made. It then goes into the jars. And then here's my strawberries that I've just have finished. This is actually a lot I made earlier, but the other lot are in the bag, just cooling down. So I made these because these would be cool enough to then put on their mousse straight away. Just remove the basil leaves. They're ready to go. I don't know if you can see those, just about there. So I'm just going to layer those on top of the mousse. So this is now, okay, so this is actually asking for a double mix. I think it's just asking to make sure it's all down at the bottom of the mixing bowl. So it's a bit of a scrape down, a quick blast for 5 seconds. Just blend. This is just doing a little last blend. And now I transfer this into the bowl with the rest of the whipped cream, and just fold that in gently to, I guess, to keep some of the air in from the original whipping of the cream, rather than knocking it all out in the blending. And it's just a nice runny mixture. This actually would normally go into the fridge for an hour after you've made it, or before you put the strawberries on. I'm going to see if I can get some strawberries on before it's cooled down, so we've got the finished article. So I'm just going to literally fold the rest of that cream in lightly, and then put it on top of the biscuit mix. So I'll just do one and show you that. But what a lovely dish to finish your dinner party off with. Or maybe that's before you get to the chocolate salami, is it? Dessert and then chocolate salami.
Yeah, I'm a big dessert fan. You've got to have, whenever we have guests to dinner, I offer at least 2 dessert options. Oh. That's because that's what I love to cook.
Such high standards for your dinner parties there. It must be very difficult for anyone to invite you back.
Yes, there is that. We very rarely get invited anywhere these days.
We don't mind though, do we? We all want to be invited.
Yeah.
To Lindsay.
I'm just putting it on top of some biscuit crumbs. There's some mousse, and I'm just going to put some strawberries on top. Shall I just do that while everyone's finishing off, and then?
Yep. That, and then you can show them at the end. So should we go over to Sarah now, just to finish off with the chocolate salami?
Okay. Alfie, sorry, my son who hang on, unmute myself.
Unmuted.
Okay, sorry, I am a counter. Yeah, so it's asked me to reserve 3 tablespoons of the icing sugar, and then it's asked me to put in the final bit of icing sugar that I did before, and then 50 grams of unsalted butter, room temperature. It's nicely done, isn't it? And then 3 egg yolks from medium eggs. And so I've got some egg yolks. These are lovely because they're from out chickens, so they're so yellow. Right, there we go. And then I'll put the lid on. It's just going to stir all that up for 30 seconds at 40 degrees. At 40 degrees, sorry, it's not putting any more heat in it. The bowl is at 40 degrees. It's great on the, I know you can't see because of the light in here, but on the middle temperature thing, it tells you how hot, how warm your bowl is, number on it. So if you've been cooking at all, it will tell you the temperature that your bowl is at, your food's at.
Have you got your one ready made?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Hang on. Then, now nice bit of rum.
Oh yeah.
So
got to add the rum.
Got to add the rum. It says, I'm going to tire it, 30 to 50 grams of the rum. I haven't.
So what's going in, about 100, Sarah?
So, whoops. Stop.
Don't stop. Keep
My
going.
hand just won't listen to me. Naughty hand. Right, now I put in all of the mixture. These are the biscuits and the fruit and the nuts. And then put the lid on, and then that's going to stir that all up. 30 seconds, and the blade is on the green bit. The blade is doing all that in reverse, so it's not chopping it up anymore. And then what it will be asking me to do is putting on some baking paper But I'll show you the texture of it. Got 10 seconds. But this is really good at the end of the night, and it's one that you can just keep nibbling at. Transfer mixture onto the baking sheet. Until I've done this before. And I'll just quickly show you, because I have made one. I made one last night. There is more in there, but it's quite a nice. It's a bit sticky. But you can dab it in there, and then you just literally. I roll it up. I just do this small one. I'll put more in afterwards, and then you just literally put it all in, roll it up, and then you fold the ends in, and then you put it in the fridge for, well, I usually put it overnight, but it says 2 to 3 hours. And here is one Blue Peter moment I made earlier. This is rather large.
Look at the size of that. Sorry.
She doubled the recipe.
No, that's it. I weighed it earlier when I was doing my costings, and it's 575 grams. So this, the amount there is here, if you bought it online, it would be between 30 and 40 pounds. And this is £5.46. But I'll just show you the inside of it.
Oh, so that looks really good, doesn't it?
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And a great edible gift, actually. A great little gift to give to somebody for a birthday or a Christmas present. Just something a little bit different.
Yeah, and you could just chop it into nice sort of portions and just do some nice wrapping. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
what's happened to you?
Taste that? Are you going to taste that? Are we going to see you eat that there?
Well,
go on.
Shall I?
Oh, look how dainty she's being.
Yeah. Really good.
You do cut it up to
it's
give
really
a
good.
gift. You don't give a big chocolate log as a Christmas gift. You don't do it like that.
It's really good.
Oh dear.
No, she's not going to waste the rum on them. Fine. Right, I'm just going to come back to myself quickly while Sarah's eating her entire log. Hang on, I've got somebody coming in, and so my sauce is now finished. I'm just going to plate up actually the dish, because my husband is looking at me with puppy dog eyes because he obviously wants his dinner. So how am I going to do this? Here's my lamb. I'm going to pop it, and it is beautiful. I mean, it's been cooked to perfection. Actually, I can tell that's beautifully medium because it's still got a lot of spring to it when I touch it. So here's my lamb going onto the dish like that, and then I'm going to pop a few of the asparagus stalks around it, and then just
very chefly done there. Look,
very chefly done. Yeah, there we go. A few little bits of the julienne as well. I promise I won't spend ages arranging it. There we go. I have got a lot more in there, but we'll use them a bit later. And then I'm just going to pour the sauce. Oh, we've got some cubed potatoes. I don't think my dish is quite big enough here, actually. But just got some little potatoes to dot around it as well, like that. And I'm still not going to let him eat it because I'm going to have to photograph it. And then I'm just going to pour over. Let's move that out of the way so we get you. I'm just going to pour over my peppercorn sauce.
Oh, that looks amazing. Are you two going to romantically eat off the same plate and feed each other? Oh.
Why not? Why not? There we go. And then the rest of the sauce, if you want to be really chefy about it, you can obviously decant a little ramekin and pop it. See, I haven't got any room on the sides of the plate, but maybe just pop it on the table. So there we go. That is that beautiful dish, and that would be a lovely centerpiece at a dinner party. So there we go. Right, so that's my dish done, and now I think all we've got left for. I mean, we couldn't have planned this better. We said about 90 minutes. We've got 5 minutes to go, so everybody is just going to show off their dishes. I know Claire's back, wants to show her focaccia. So should we go to Claire first of all, just to show us the focaccia?
Hold on.
Like Claire, there we go. She's back. Can you see us, Claire?
And now, yeah, I lost. well, I just lost everything halfway through. Right, there's the chorizo prawns a la Sidra with some the Portuguese water bread. There's the focaccia that was just cooked, so the one that you saw. Oh, and there's my Van Dough from earlier.
Oh,
Wow.
That's my attempt at a sunflower. But that's why with the focaccia you can just play around with it, and you can do pictures and patterns and all sorts and have immense fun with your artisan cheap bread. There you go, that's me.
Fab. Right, okay, let me
where do you want to
my
go?
camera back on. So should we go over to Michaela?
Yeah, just plotted that up actually. I've oh, hello. I'll just put the big camera down on top of it. So this said to dish it up into 10 little ramekins, which you would do for a dinner party and just serve it. Here is the chutney. I mean, it's made 1.5 jars, so you know I would probably put that into a little ramekin beside. I put it into larger dishes because obviously we're not having a dinner party, and we'll probably have that as one of these as a snackette with some biscuits. But there we go, 2 pots of chutney and lots of lovely parfait, chicken parfait.
Brilliant. Okay, so now should we go over to Nicola to show us the cheesecakes with, not the cheesecakes, the white chocolate mousses with the sous vide strawberries.
Yeah, they're all done. So
Fabulous.
I've got 3. I don't know if you can see those properly, but they are.
Yeah, they look lovely.
They're holding solid. Obviously, you would normally have left the mousse in the fridge for a little bit longer, so it'd be a little bit more solid. They've actually been held and given a base for the strawberries beautifully. So yeah, all set.
Brilliant.
Wow, they look lovely.
And then Sarah, we've already seen Sarah's salami, haven't we? Should we have another look?
Let's have a look at her. She's in a salami coma, isn't she?
There we go. No, it looks fantastic.
Delicious.
Brilliant. So we hope that you have enjoyed. Let me just put the camera back onto me. Okay, oh, it's been done. Thank you, Sue. So we really hope you've enjoyed this session. If you have, why don't you think about asking your advisor to run a demo for you and a group of friends. At the moment, obviously, we're still doing them online, but you can do them in a garden, weather permitting. And eventually we will be back out in your homes cooking with you and a group of friends. But it would mean the world to us if you would book us for demos, because of course that is how we introduce Thermomix to new customers. We know you love your Thermomixes and we know you love sharing them. We love sharing what we do as well. And obviously we need to make sales to continue to provide this level of service to you. So we only get paid through commission when we sell a machine. Lots of us put in an awful lot of time running busy Facebook groups, helping you out, answering questions. So if you can see your way to booking one of us for a demo to show you how to use your machine and what you can do with it, you'll have a lovely evening with your friends, a lot of fun, some great food, and you know, hopefully we can continue spreading the word as well. So on behalf of us all from this particular team, I know we've got, you know, teams all around the country, and a lot of you are not from our particular team, so you would go back to your own advisors, but obviously we've got customers on here as well, and prospective customers too. We hope we have convinced some of you to buy a Thermomix, because you know, that's what it's all about. We love showing off this machine and showing all the different functionality. The only thing missing from tonight, and that's because I put a lid on it, I thought it was going to be too long otherwise, was a cocktail. We were going to show you a fantastic cocktail, but I think, you know, we've whizzed through it in record time this evening, so we will be definitely putting a cocktail back on the menu. So do keep an eye on the Thermomix Whiz customer group and any other advisor pages for details of our next cooking classes. We run them once a month, but like I said, if any of you would like to book a personal exclusive demo for you and a group of friends, please do reach out to your advisor and do that, because we absolutely love inspiring our customers with new dishes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. And any customers who've got a request for one of our team demos, let us know what you think, what you'd like us to see.
Yep. No, that's a great
We
idea
love you.
because we rack our brains every month thinking, what can we do this month? It seemed like a great thing to do dinner parties as the world is opening up again. We shall eventually be able to see people in person. But yes, if you do have any suggestions for things that you would like us to cover, please do let us know. Okay, right,
Bye,
I'm going to come
everyone.
off of record. Right, bye everybody.
I don't think we've got any questions. No questions there. No, I think we've answered them all.
There was one question, Michaela, about